Illinois Stories is brought to you by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and by the support of viewers like you. Thank you.
Hello, welcome to Illinois Stories. I'm Mark McDonald in Warsaw at one of the grandest old homes in Warsaw. This antebellum mansion was built in the 1850s and fell into horrible disrepair until the 1980s when it was brought back to life through painstaking efforts and expense. And it now belongs to a new family, the Thomas family in Warsaw, who have also done an enormous amount of work to this old home known as the Cat Lady's House. And John Thomas, it was probably known as the Cat Lady's House because the lady that lived here had hundreds of cats, and as she aged, the cats kind of took over, and the place was, you describe it, because you probably had seen it.
Well, actually, we hadn't seen it at the point it was at its worst, but we have plenty of pictures, and we'll get to see those along the way, too. Yeah. But we have talked to many neighbors around, and they've explained just completely in disrepair isn't even a strong enough word, and the cats had taken over completely, and as you can imagine, it was a disaster.
Oh my goodness, we will see the pictures. We're standing in the music, I guess it's called the music room. This would have been one of the parlors as the owners greeted guests. They would have either showed them into this parlor or the parlor across the way. Right. And we'll see all these rooms, but first, let's take that opportunity to go down the hall and into the dining room here, where we can actually get a look at the condition the house was in, even before you became aware of it, right?
Right, exactly. And the previous owner that I bought the house from, we've been here 5 years, and they had owned it approximately 10 years. And the first 2 years or so is when they did a tremendous amount of work. And he lives in Macomb. Mel Kerr and his wife Judy, they deserve a ton of credit for the work they
save. That's what they do, is they save homes, right?
That's a lot.
And this was one of them. They found it and they saved it, and then when you came along, you improved it and you made it yours.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Right. Yeah,
it's terrific. But I'll tell you what, it is. Oh, it's just unbelievable when you look at the home as it did. I mean, it actually was falling in.
Yeah, it needed a bulldozer, is what it needed, I think.
The porches are falling off, the roof is falling in. Here's a picture of the kitchen, which shows you that the doors are falling off the cabinets, the windows are just a mess. It's just such a pity that it could happen to a grand house like this. It's also so refreshing, though, that having seen that, and when you look at the house now, it's really refreshing to see what it's become.
Oh, it's amazing that someone would take that on.
Yeah, well, and yourself too.
Yeah.
Yourself too. And some of these pictures the stairs went up to the porch. They're falling in. The porch is falling in. But it looks like the only thing standing is the columns, and those columns are pretty well. But thank God for those columns.
Yeah, right. Yeah, they're pretty sturdy there. It looks like. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what. You and your wife Militia deserve a ton of credit. You're both going to give us a tour through the house. Let's go back to the front and work our way back. Okay?
Sure, definitely.
After you.
Okay.
Okay, John, back up the hall to the front of the house again. We were in the music room briefly when we first met you. Here we are again, and this is a good place to start because this would have been a parlor where they would have showed the guests in, and they'd sit here and wait until they were, they were working. And what you've made is you've modified it into a music room, and I love this because this piano, this is what they call, I think they call it a square grand piano, do they not?
Correct, square grand, yes.
Where did you find it?
Well, this piano, it came from Hamilton, Illinois. We found it in the classifieds ads of the newspaper. And unfortunately, the lady had passed away, the owner of it, and it had gotten passed down to her over the years through her family. And it started out in Keokuk, Iowa, and we found back in around 1872 is when this was new. But like a lot of things we've been talking about, this was a disaster. The piano had just fallen completely.
We got some pictures out here which show the finish. You can see the string area here, and then the finish of the piano, which was, if it all looked like this, I don't know how you possibly brought it back to life.
Yeah. And my kids, they play the piano, and they'd been taking lessons, and we always wanted to get them a piano, and we thought, well, I told my wife, I'll try. I'm good with my hands. I'll try to take it on. I don't know anything about pianos, but if it comes apart, it'll go back together, right? Little did I know.
Oh man!
Little did I know what I was getting myself into.
I love this. I've got a picture of you here with the innards of the piano out on the floor, and I think you're trying to figure out, okay, what do I do next?
Yeah, that's pretty close to right. Yeah.
And there's a look at the finish. You know, boy, you did some beautiful work on that wood. I'll tell you what. That shows you too how it's kind of cracked up and you wouldn't really think that it'd be worth anything. And also, you learned a lot about a piano. Taking this thing apart, you had no idea how many moving parts were in a piano.
No idea. I found out though, 7,500.
And you probably replaced every one of them.
Yeah, and it's obsolete. There's no parts for it. So a lot of the leather and felt had to cut to shape and fit, and you do all this work. Is it even going to work in the end? And it did. So we're really happy with it.
Yeah.
And our kids play it every day.
It's a beautiful room. Beautiful room. And this little devil down here, this little safe has a story too, doesn't it?
Right, it does. This safe, my dad gave to me, and a friend gave it to him years and years ago, probably in the 1970s. But it had been in a house that flooded along the Illinois River, somewhere around Campsville, Illinois.
Okay.
And it was just rust and dents and scratches. And like I said, I like to do that kind of stuff. So I took it on and got it all taken apart and, cleaned it up and painted it. And
pretty cute now.
Yeah, it turned out nice.
You could see what kind of condition it was in. Look at all the pock marks and stuff that's on the surface of this thing. It looks like you probably dug it. It looks like it came out of the river actually is what it looks like. What a mess. Oh boy.
Yeah.
I bet that thing weighs a ton too.
Oh, it is.
Can two people
heavy.
move it?
Two people with everything you've got can move it with the door off.
Okay. Yeah. Let's go into the other parlor. Now this would be, I guess you'd call this the living room, but this is the big room.
Right. They called it a double parlor.
Oh, beautiful.
And it originally had this big arch. This is how it was set up. Right.
Yeah, well, you had to build some of your own arches too, didn't you? But this wasn't one of them.
Upstairs, yeah.
But
the Kerrs, the family we bought this from, they had most of this work done. This is pretty much just as it was.
You got lucky on this one. It was kind of as you wanted it.
Really nice.
I noticed that there are two fireplaces here, and they look like they match. Do they?
Right, yeah, there are actually 5 in the whole house we'll see, but these two, if you look at the details, they're just a little different, but for all practical purposes, you could say they match, and they are original to the house.
Oh, you're fortunate that nothing happened to them. And these would have been, originally, I guess these would have burned coal, wouldn't they?
Right, they are coal-burning fireplaces, yes.
And you've got, 2 in here, and then you had 1 in the music room, and then there are 2 others. These you can't leave this room without noticing these chandeliers, and you have, as you go through the house, you see that you have I don't know how many, maybe a dozen of these, and they all match.
Yeah, I've never really made a thought to count them myself, but
but you bought every one.
Yeah,
of them.
we bought them, and they actually come disassembled, and we to save a little money, we put them together ourselves, and it just something we did over time. Yeah. One here, one there, and it makes everything stand out. We like them.
And another beautiful thing they do with these old homes is they'll make these windows/doors. You don't even know what to call them, but they go right from the floor all the way to the ceiling, and you get all this wonderful light flowing into the house, don't you?
It's very nice, and get some fresh air in the spring. You can open them wide open.
Yeah, it's kind of like having a screened porch, isn't it?
Yeah, right.
And then this one goes out to the back porch. Really, really nice. Well, let's move on.
All right.
John, it's one of these big old homes that strikes you immediately, and one of the first things you see are the columns and the porches. It's very impressive.
Right, they are huge columns, and I was kind of curious about them. When we were doing some of the work we did, and if what was in there. And they're actually, there's nothing in there. Those are hollow, and what you see is the support structure. Those are individual boards, cut with that contour, and that's the structure is what you're looking at.
So they're not really supporting the house. They're there for decoration, aren't they?
Right, and probably holding the front, some of the weight off the front of the balcony, but right.
And I think it's called Greek Revival.
Greek Revival is the style. And the 2 really large windows in the front of the house, from what I've read, is uncommon for such an old house. Because like we said earlier, these are original glass to the house. And most of them were made into panes, smaller window panes back in those days. And to have the really big windows still in good shape is unusual.
Yeah. And it's possible, too, the porches, which really kind of command the view, because you have porches on all 3 sides, they may have been added later, too. You don't really know for sure.
Right, and that was one of the things we had read, too, that there's speculation that this big front porch was added on, and the columns were all added on a little later. Yeah.
As far as we know, though, it always had the Belvedere.
Right,
and, that was part of the original plan.
Right, yeah.
John, I love the spiral staircase.
It's really neat.
Yeah, it is neat. And as you can see from here, it goes all the way up to the third floor. And actually beyond, doesn't it? Because you've got a Belvedere on this house, so it actually goes all the way up.
All the way up.
You've made a pool room out of this, which it worked out kind of nice because they had a pool table they left for you, didn't
Right,
they?
right, yeah.
So do you and your son get into heated battles in the pool room? Or?
Once in a while it gets a little heated.
I noticed there's an airplane on the wall there too. Were you a pilot?
I was an aircrew member for a while. I was a gunner.
A gunner?
And most of my time, though, I was in aircraft maintenance. I did a lot of aircraft maintenance.
Well, I would think that since you're a handy guy, I would have thought that maybe maintenance might have been where you. Okay, as I know, that goes up to the third floor.
Right.
This is one of the kids' rooms, right?
Right. My daughter's
Again,
bedroom.
these big windows. Love that. And this house is built strangely because it's got a center hall, which most don't. It connects the rooms. There's another child's bedroom in there, and then you come off here to a dressing area. This is your master, and you come off to a dressing area and you step down into this big master bedroom. And I assume that this would have been the master bedroom in the old days too, don't you?
I would imagine, yeah, because it was obviously always a big room with this large fireplace here and everything.
It is, and that's the biggest of the fireplaces. So this got used. This would burn all night. This would keep the master and the lady warm all night. Another interesting feature here is you've got a stairway that comes up from around the kitchen area. So this would have been probably for the help somehow to get up and down.
Right, I would
maybe
imagine.
to bring meals or to make, just to come up and do work. And the railing has a story too. I mean, it wasn't original to the house.
Right, right. This was boarded off completely as there was no access to the staircase. And when they were in the process of, repairing everything, they found the staircase there, and this railing came from a storage area that they had a lot of their things in and fit right in place there.
Well, you got lucky, didn't you?
Oh yeah, definitely.
And it's period too, so it works really good.
Yeah,
there.
it's like it's made for it.
Yeah. Nice big room, and then this. Do you know what this space, which is now your master bath, would have been used for?
I can only imagine it was just maybe even another bedroom, maybe a kid's bedroom. I'm not sure.
Oh man, look at the size. You have to think big when you take on a house like this. Some of your art is like 6 feet wide. This mirror, I can't imagine trying to hang that mirror, but this mirror is immense.
Yeah, it was a good project.
Did you find it for this house or did you have it?
Actually, what we did was the glass itself, we bought at Adams County Glass, and it's actually just, the glass is glued to the wall with a special glue. And then I used chair rail and I made this frame to go around.
Clever.
Yeah.
Clever. So it looks like it was made for each other. Okay. Now, this space, you had to tailor this space. You had to create this space, didn't you?
Right. I made the arch, above the tub here, and painted the cloud ceiling, and my wife helped me with the tile. We do everything ourselves as much as we can, and we learn as we go a lot of times too. But it turned out we're really happy with it. It turned out nice.
I can see why. And it's kind of hard to see, but you say you painted the cloud ceiling. What was that? Did you use like a sponge to paint that with, or how?
Actually, I used a paintbrush. Just but you dab it.
It's good. You're good. You're good. But this making these archways and tiling them, that's a trick.
Yeah.
That's a trick. Good for you.
Like I said, learn as I go, right?
It's wonderful. And then you've got this great walk-in shower. I'll let you go back there with the camera because there's not room for us all, but really, really nice job. Just gorgeous. And how to live in an 1850s house with all the modern amenities, that is something.
Yeah, we've done a lot of insulating and trying to make it more comfortable along the way, and it's comfortable now, and we really enjoy it.
Yeah. How do you heat it? Is it propane?
We have 2 gas heaters. We have one for the upstairs and one for the downstairs, and it's surprisingly it's affordable to heat. It really is.
The walls are thick.
Yeah, the walls are thick. They are thick. Yeah. We don't even know when it's raining outside.
Can't hear a thing. It's a fortress, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It is.
Militia, I guess it's been an interesting 5 years in this home, hasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. 1850s to 2012 or 13 roughly when you bought the house.
Yes.
What did you think did you have to talk yourself into moving into a big old house like this, or was it really easy?
It was very easy.
Really?
Yes, we had been on several 1,200-mile road trips trying to find the perfect home, and most of the time when we would get there, I think the pictures had came from maybe 20 years prior, but this house was phenomenal. We're like, where do we sign? The Kerrs had done an amazing job restoring it.
Yeah, and your husband took over pretty well because he added a lot of the flair.
Yes,
you could have lived in it and it would have been fine.
Yes.
But he really brought it up to date, didn't he?
Yes, he definitely added a luxury component. So.
He's very humble too, because he says, well, this room, the dining room here, we didn't really have to do much to this. The Kerrs pretty much took care of it, and we didn't have to do much. So the wallpaper was here, and it was all in pretty good condition. But there's an interesting story about the wallpaper, because here you two, if I look into the china cabinet over there, I'm seeing some dishes that appear to match.
Yes, in fact, when we looked at the house and we saw the wallpaper, we were like, oh my goodness, that matches our china perfectly. We've had the china like 20 years, and so I was like, it's a sign, we have to have this house.
Just more reinforcement that this is our home.
Yeah.
And we were I love to talk about fireplaces because I'm fascinated by them. But this is a larger marble fireplace than most of the others. It has a little different detail, and this one got bricked up. The other ones are open. This one got bricked up.
Yes, and we have no idea why, but this has the winter insert, and the other fireplaces have the summer insert.
And as you noted earlier, this house was in such disrepair that this wall was falling in and had to be replaced, wasn't it?
Right. The south wall, I guess a tree had fallen on the roof, and there was a lot of water damage. And the fireplace that's in the master bedroom right above this has a lot of iron deposit stains on it. But yes, the Kerrs had to completely rebuild the south wall.
Let's go in the kitchen.
Okay.
Now, this house in 1850, of course, would not even have had a kitchen.
Right.
Look what you've done.
There was a summer kitchen out, like in that area right there.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we just have like a couple of pictures of it where it's in ruins. But yes.
Yeah, wow. And it's wonderful. I mean, you got all this space. Everybody wants a big kitchen, and you got one, didn't you?
Yes.
You got a big kitchen. This, of course, wasn't here.
Right.
You put the countertops in, huh?
Yes.
Yeah.
The Kerrs who restored the home, they did a great job in the kitchen. It was beautiful, but we really wanted granite cabinets. And then I had dreamed of this stove for about 20 years. And then we found one in Dallas. My husband's in the Air Force, and so we moved around a lot. And so we have been carrying the stove around with us because to actually install it, you have to remove cabinets.
Oh my God, yes.
So it's always been a dream that we'd actually get to use it.
And it fit.
And it fit. And it barely fit. We were very lucky.
Yeah,
yes.
You are lucky. Looking outside here, this is kind of a neat spot. Some of the old buildings are still remain, and this is one fancy outhouse out there.
It really is.
Yeah. It's a four-seater, I guess. Huh?
It is,
Yeah.
and it has nice wooden shutters that open, and our daughter uses it as her art gallery.
Is that right?
So, yes.
Does she paint out there?
She doesn't. She
So it's
paints
not a
in here,
studio.
but it's just a
She
gallery.
takes it. Oh, okay, it's her gallery. Okay, well that's nice that she has her own gallery. That's wonderful. And another story to this home is this old table. A lot of our viewers know where Mount Pleasant is because it's right in the middle of our viewing area. But your family or his family? It's from
John's
family.
yes.
Okay. And tell me a story about the table.
They had won it at a fair, a raffle, and so it is actually his great grandparents, and it will extend to I don't know how many
Really?
people. Right.
Oh, so you've got the leaves somewhere. You just have to find them and put them in, huh?
Right.
Oh, neat.
And so his great aunt T, when she passed away, she gave it to us, and so it had been used many times.
We got out some pictures here which show the condition it was in, and it wasn't very good. It sure wasn't very good. I mean, these the feet were all knocked up and messed up.
Right.
Did John work on it?
He did. He restored it. Yes.
Well, if he could do that piano, I think this was probably pretty easy for him.
Yes, I think this was very easy for him. Yes, he does a great job.
Okay, take us back along behind the stove here in the sink.
Okay. Oh, and originally their stove was here and the sink was here. So
Oh, so you moved John moved the sink over here. That's not so
Right,
easy
yes.
either.
This is like my little work center. And so I get to use all this area every day. But for a birthday present, John had ordered actually this Huser cabinet. It's called a side cabinet as a kit. And he was at work, and when it came, and it was these boxes and boxes. And I opened it up, and it's lumber and hardware. And I called him, and I'm like, honey, I think you might want to return this because, I think he was thinking it was like an easy thing.
Yeah.
So he's like, oh, well, I'll look at it. So he bought the wood clamps, etc. And for the next Christmas birthday present, he did the big one for me.
Wow.
And so I can pull this out and roll out dough on it.
Oh, that's nice.
And
That is
it's
really nice.
it's a kit, but he had to sand it and glue it together, and so it has like all the little inserts and holder for
He had no idea how much he would learn when he bought this house, did he?
Yeah. And actually he actually did this years ago. So we've been carrying that around with
I
us
see.
for a
Okay.
while.
All right. Yeah, you guys have had a lot to carry. You finally got a house where you can put it all.
Yes.
Now, John's a man of many hobbies, and you've actually got a space now for your beverage center too, and he brews his own beer in the basement, huh?
That's
Good for
right.
him. Good for
Yes.
him.
This was a bathroom when we bought the house. And so since we have 3 other bathrooms, he embellished it.
We could do
for
without
us.
this, but
Yes.
we got to have the beer.
And
We
he
can do all
brews
that.
the beer, yes.
Thanks, Militia. Okay, Militia, one of the rooms that I guess used to be a bedroom off the main hall is now a schoolroom.
Yes.
Not every house has a schoolroom. What's the point?
True. Well, since I homeschool, we needed a space, and so I've been homeschooling for 10 years, and this seemed to be a good space.
And you have the 2 kids.
Yes.
Okay, their names and ages?
John Neely, he is 12.
John's 12.
Yes,
okay.
and Alexandria, she's almost 15.
Is that
so,
right?
Yes.
Is Alexandria taking driving lessons yet?
She is.
She
yes.
is.
She is taking driver's ed at the Warsaw High School.
Okay,
So.
all right. And are you the teacher
For driver's ed?
for these 2 here?
Oh, right,
You're the homeschooler.
yes,
Are they
yes.
getting their A's?
Yes, they work
Okay.
very hard. They're
All
very
right.
studious.
When I look around the room and I see a globe,
Yes.
I see Mona Lisa,
Yes.
I see the old Congress. Is that the signing of the Declaration of Independence?
Yes, it is.
And the American flag?
Yes.
Okay, so you're a patriotic family.
Yes, we are.
John's retired military, right?
Yes.
Okay. And these photos, they're meant to inspire?
Yes. We want the kids to have good role models and to be inspired to do great things. It's important.
Okay. Well, they're hard at work, so I'm starting to feel guilty, like I should be whispering or something. So maybe we should go somewhere else.
Okay.
Good luck, kids. See you. Okay, John, up we go. You get a nosebleed going up to the top of this house. It's kind of
Yeah, it
dizzying
keeps
too
you
when
in
you look.
shape. It
You don't
keeps
want to
you-
look down. It's kind of dizzying.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, the first couple months we lived here, my legs were sore.
Of course, you were carrying things like safes and pianos.
Right, right.
And this is now we're almost out of space in the house because as houses go, they kind of do this. But you've got storage on both sides here.
Right.
And then this was just I guess this was just lost space until you decided what you want to do with it.
Yeah, it may have been more storage up here. I'm not sure what it would have been originally. But it works out great for a nice little hangout area and watch TV and read. It's a good spot.
Yeah, yeah. It's probably in the winter time. It's a good place to curl up because all the heat kind of concentrates up here.
It definitely does. Yeah, it's nice and toasty.
Take a nap or two on that couch
Yeah,
out
right.
there on a January afternoon.
Right.
And then there's one more flight up. You have what some people call a cupola, other people call it a Belvedere. But it's really neat because you've got it glassed in. You can see almost all of Warsaw. from
Right,
up here. Let's go
right.
take a look. Okay, John, we've clawed our way up to the 4th floor, which is the Belvedere. It's kind of nice. It's glassed in. Was it glassed in like this when you bought the house?
It was, and from old pictures, it's always had windows up here like this.
Yeah, so somebody, a lot of people used to use these. They would open up these windows and it would suck hot air out of the house in the summertime.
Yeah.
You might be able to do that at some point.
Yeah, we do. We open it up in the spring, and get the windows like the door windows we looked at in the
Yeah,
parlor,
yeah.
and you can really get a good draft through the
Yeah,
house.
and
It
in the
really-
springtime's perfect. I mean, you get that nice, moist, sweet air coming through the house.
Yeah.
You can see a lot from here. You can see almost all of Warsaw. We're 1 block off of Main Street, which is where that brick church is, right there. And You can see the north. Let's see, this was the east side of town, and then we can't see the west side of town, which is the river view. We might be able to see the river from here, but on this day, all the windows are fogged up and we can't see much.
Right.
But if we look out there, we can see the old carriage house, which you have an interesting use for.
Right. I'm a gunsmith by trade now, and that's my shop where I do my gun work.
Yeah. Okay. Well, neat. So you're a busy man. 2 kids. You're a gunsmith. You got this place to take care of.
Yeah. For a retired guy, I'm really busy.
For a retired guy. One other thing before we go here. This we can see the ravine, but this house sits right on the edge of a very steep ravine. And the reason you said you found old remains down there that they used to toss down in there, that's how you knew they burned coal in these fireplaces.
Right, tons of burnt coal down along there.
That's a nice piece of property, really nice.
Thank you.
Militia, one of the reasons that you wanted to make sure that you got a period piano in this house is because you wanted your kids to learn to play the piano, right? And so for the last 5 years, they sort of gradually been taking lessons and learning how to do that, haven't they?
Yes.
Yeah. It's but you're not a musician, so homeschooling your kids, it wasn't going to work for you to teach them piano, huh?
No, they've always taken piano lessons from someone else.
Yeah, yeah. And they're coming along, aren't they?
Yes.
Okay.
They are.
So I sort of muscled my way through being the producer of this program to get them to play for us. So what are they going to play for us?
The Charleston.
The Charleston. Why are they working on the Charleston?
They are going to be participating in an ensemble, actually next weekend. So.
Is that right?
Yes.
So they're getting close to having this thing down then,
yes,
right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, let's go ahead and listen to the Charleston and then and see, and then we'll say goodbye. Okay, kids? You ready? Almost perfect, almost perfect. That was really good, kids, thanks. Isn't it great to see old things put to use again? Like the 1850s Spencer House, which is now the Thomas House. For another Illinois Stories in Warsaw, I'm Mark McDonald. Thanks for watching.
Illinois Stories is brought to you by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, Illinois Arts Council Agency, and by the support of viewers like you. Thank you. For a DVD copy of the program you've just seen, send 1995 to P.O. Box 6248, Springfield, Illinois 62708. Be sure to include the program name, subject, and when the program aired. You can also order with your credit card by calling 800-232-3605.